Hi there, David again. I'm going to carry on with status, the topic of status, and that is how people rate you, how society rates you as an individual. High, low, medium, that type of thing. And this is a very interesting topic with a lot more than you may think. Status has got many different things, many aspects to it. And I was talking about height in terms of it's important with women to an extent, but not so much as it is with a man. Short men, has to be said, are given lower social status in general, unfair as it may be, because they don't have choice of the height. It's a form of prejudice, you could say, and it's also to do with natural selection, in that women do prefer guys to be bigger and stronger than them physically, and it's because then they can be more protective. That's one idea anyway. So whereas women often get pretty worked up about their weight, men can get quite obsessed by their height, and some people might even decide to get special shoes to give them a wee bit more height, and that shows you that it's something which is important to them. So there's another thing. Why is height important? Because it makes people look more elegant. If you're taller, you can often look more elegant as you walk around. You've got more presence. People perhaps notice you. If you're trying to get served at a bar or somewhere, you just seem to have a more of a physical presence. And if you're shorter and wider, it's possible that you could be more ungainly as you kind of walk around. You don't have the same movement, and this could all be learned perceptions from society. It may not be the case, but it's what we learn because we're used to watching James Bond in the movies, things like that. So role models like that tend to be tall men. If James Bond was a short person and he had a squeaky kind of voice, then we would not be so impressed by him. It would be perceived to be less manly. And the women in Bond movies tend to be tall and elegant. So these things merge together. Height and elegance conflate together at times. And talking about James Bond movies, some of the most beautiful women in James Bond movies didn't necessarily have a particularly attractive voice. They just had a normal voice. So quite often they were all overdubbed. So here we get an interesting thing. We have someone with a beautiful body, sparkling eyes, big wide smile, looking very alluring, but if they started to speak, then the image would be ruined. So therefore they get someone in who has perhaps not the same body or eyes or face as the Bond girl, but they have a beautiful voice. So they dub over the actress's voice. So when they speak, they're just miming it and somebody else's voice is being used. Therefore, voice is a form of status. So when you see the woman, you're judging her on her looks in the movie, but if you heard her voice, and maybe she was just speaking on the telephone, you would have a different perception. Therefore, voice has status. So someone speaks in a posh voice, and they're eloquent, then that raises their status. They are more commanding, and the tone of their voice, their intonation, their grammar, the accent, all these things dictate social class and identity. So there you go. Voice quality becomes social status. Cowboys have deep voices. Pretty women often have much higher pitched voices and softer voices. This is all about status. Some people's voices grate on you, and you go, "Oh dear, that's kind of disturbing. That sound discordant." Or people's voices are very soft, and so therefore, there you go. And you might even say you don't have a lot of choice with that, or you can perhaps put some training in, some elocution lessons, but your voice is coming along with you all your life, and it's affecting how people judge you. A man with a reedy voice, a weak kind of voice, might be seen to be of lower status. A woman with a deep or aggressive, manly type of voice may be seen to be not a proper ladylike woman. And there you go as well. What does manly mean? What does ladylike mean? These become part of status. What do we perceive to be manly traits? And does that indicate your standing? Should women be ladylike, or should they be anything they want? But people are seeking approval, therefore acting in a certain way with elegance and being polite. A polite person perhaps gains some more status because of their manner. Someone speaking in a very rough manner, perhaps foul-mouthed, swearing, being coarse, that could affect perception. People might think this person's a lowlife. Listen to the way they speak. And someone else could speak with refinement, and they would be seen to be richer, more intelligent, more acceptable, and it may all be just done by the voice. Your accent, how you pronounce vowels. Some cities, Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, sometimes the way people speak, coming from these places, people from southern England maybe say they sound a bit coarse. I don't like that sound. And people from the home counties, Surrey, they've developed this received pronunciation, and they cultivate that, and that gives them high social status, and they think northern people are a bit coarse. Not that this is actually true, but that's about perception. So someone with a posh voice gets elevated. And this is why status is very fascinating, because it could mean, there could be many other things, like the length of someone's hair, or a man might not have any hair. Does that give them lower status? A woman might have gorgeous, glossy hair. She then gets high status. And this is why people sometimes spend a small fortune on cosmetics, because they're looking to elevate the status, and they're doing this by altering her appearance.